Oh, there we are. We are QOTD, and you've tuned in to our weekly Big Show. This is the time of the week where we go through all the questions, all the best answers, and then we vote. We pick the finals, the best of the best of the best. This is where we pick our best answers for the whole week. While we are watching this, little buttons will appear on your screen, and you'll have the opportunity to vote, and it's your votes that determine who are our winners this week. If you don't see those little buttons, chances are you're not on BeOnTheAir.com. And you might want to click over there and open up a window on the side so that you can vote and send stars or maybe even record because you could still be on the air. So, Trish, Reid, JJ, how are you guys doing today?
Good morning.
Yeah.
Doing good.
Good to be here on a Thursday, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very different, but I think we'll make do.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's early here in New York, but we're going to make do because I brought lots of coffee beans. That is one of our questions from this week. But Trish, as I always ask you, as I look at each of the questions from the week, from Friday until today, is there like a message, a theme, something that resonates through all these questions?
Well, I looked at this week like we really schooled our fans with some great questions. So we took them to social studies, we talked about family and relationships, and then we headed over to literature and we discussed great books and screenplays. And then we went to home ec where we learned the ins and outs of making coffee. And finally, we even let you pick some partners for a field trip in driver's ed.
So it's high school.
It is.
Oh, I loved it. I loved high school.
Well, right?
There's a high school. Well, not everybody.
Yeah.
Didn't like it so much. That was one of our answers. She's answered a bunch of questions, and I don't think that she enjoyed it that much. Becca, mixed. Oh, Hannah had a mixed response to high school. But me, I loved high school. Was the best. High school, I got to say, was when I was the coolest. My high school friends disagree, but I think that was it. I think that was like top of the top. Well, it looks like we've got our first question up somehow.
Yes, I think there was a little bit of a snafu with the tech, but I think we are going to work through it. But we can take this opportunity to say what today's first question is, since I think we've already gone through kind of the motions of it.
Yes, so we're heading back to the library. And the question is, what is a book or movie that has impacted you the most?
Keith, you actually gave me a book that is probably the book that impacted me the most. It was called The Kite Runner. And it was Khalid Hosseini, I think, is the author, but it's a book that's set at the time of the Russian invasion of Afghanistan. So it's a lot of history, but it's about relationships, fathers and sons. It's about like the class system, definitely about friendship. I cried on an airplane when I read the end of it. I literally sobbed. It is the most interesting and powerful book I think I've ever read, The Kite Runner.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Loved it. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm going to have to add that to like my Goodreads, my list of books to read next. I'm trying to get back into reading, so I think that might be a good place to start.
Yeah, I think I might order another copy. I gave mine to somebody else and I never got it back. But I was like, I would read that again. I read it like 10 years ago or something, but add it to your list.
Yeah. Any great books that you love? Any great books that you all loved? Something that you just couldn't put down and changed your life?
Honestly, for me, Percy Jackson. I think I've said it before, but that was like the first big book series that I was really into. And I mean, it holds up today. They're making the new miniseries of it. So I think if there's a time to be a Percy Jackson fan, it is now.
But do you feel like it changed your life, or do you think it just changed your life in the sense that you lost a lot of hours to it?
I mean, I'm still convinced that I'm a child of Poseidon, so I think it definitely led me down that path. But yeah, the sense of adventure, the sense of wonder definitely stayed with me.
Yeah. I read The Bell Jar just as I graduated college, and I think that definitely did not do wonders for my mental health, but definitely left an impact for sure. And I think it's just it's one of the greatest books that I've ever read for sure.
Well, let's see what the people had to say.
I was going to say we have some answers coming in, so let's see what other books and movies people really enjoyed. I'll be sure to add some to my list. You have one coming in?
I'd say Douglas Copeland's Life After God. It kind of puts perspective on things as you read it.
I've heard about it. I haven't read it.
One of those books.
I would say Harry Potter just because it was a fun read.
So, like you, JJ, a good fun series.
Honestly, guys, if you heard or seen the movie Founder by, I forget what, Jay Kroc or something like that is the main character, the guy that created McDonald's, but it just shows you that you can truly do anything that you want to do. Not really speaking, he did screw over a lot of people, but the story remains.
I read his other book, which was called Grinding It Out. That was his autobiography, which was like unbelievable.
Green Eggs and Ham has had by far influenced me more than any other book.
I mean, he's joking, but it's sort of true.
Probably Back to the Future. I don't really know why. I just love that movie and I watched it over and over again.
10,000. Yeah.
It's a classic.
The newest Joker really speaks a lot to mental health and how those around you can really play a difference in how you handle that.
Wow, very insightful.
Topical. They're shooting the sequel right now.
So everybody, time for us all to vote. There are blue buttons across the bottom of your screen. Mash one of those buttons, and the person that you vote for the most, anyway, across this whole audience, will make it to the finals. There we go. You should see that blue button right on the bottom of your screen right now. So yeah, now there's some interesting ones there. You know, Joker I thought was a good movie, but I don't know if I would say it was a commentary on mental health. Something that we walked away from illuminated by.
Let's see, we got a winner coming in. Well, Keith, you're wrong.
Clearly, the people have spoken.
Yeah, no, I think I was talking about it with my mom who saw it, and she kind of said that it was about like mental health, which is interesting, but
There was definitely a theme of mental health in there, but I don't know if he was mentally healthy.
Phoenix is like one of the best actors who's working today. He's just amazing, and I love everything that's in. I don't know if you guys saw him in the Johnny Cash movie Walk the Line and Gladiator. He's amazing, and so you know what? I should probably give him more credit. And if anybody could pull it off, it's Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix.
That's true. That's true. He did win an Oscar for the Joker for this movie, so something to it. Well, I think Joaquin Phoenix, I would be curious to see how he would do in like a road trip movie, because I haven't seen him in a good road trip movie, and I haven't seen him in like that sort of context.
Walk the line. He spends a little time on that bus on that road trip. Yeah, also a good question. He would be a great person to be on a road trip. Though he might get moody, and then, you know, you saw Joker. You know what happens then.
He'd be method acting in the car. It'd be a lot.
Yeah. But I think that leads us very nicely into our next question.
It does, JJ. Did a great job with that. Next question is, if you could go on a road trip with any person, living or dead, who would it be?
I am reminded of another movie, though, which is Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, where they go on a road trip with
The last road trip movie I watched was Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle, and then the subsequent sequel, Harold and Kumar Escape Guantanamo Bay. So my thought is I would go with Neil Patrick Harris. I think it'd be a fun time.
Ooh, well, I definitely think Neil Patrick Harris would be a gas. I have a list of 4 people who I think would be good. You can mix and match. Florence Pugh, Keke Palmer, Pedro Pascal, and Bill Nye.
Wow.
So Pedro Pascal, I've seen him in a recent road trip movie.
Well, is it more of a TV show? Or am I thinking of something else?
It is, in fact, much more of a TV show than it is a movie, but it's a road trip. They're walking most of the time. It's not what you're usually thinking of, but yeah, I think that he kept it light, except for the killing parts.
Yes, little blips.
Very good.
Yeah, well, we have our answers, and I think we have some pretty good options, but we also have some really good answers coming in from fans. So let's see who they would bring with them on their cross-country road trip. Very excited to see what they have to say.
If you could go on a road trip with any person, living or dead, who would it be? Before I answer the question, so I am a what do you call it? A hold-in child. Like a sheltered child. My whole childhood, I was kind of a sheltered child, as well as in my teenagehood and adulthood. I kind of got like the shelteredness kind of like embodied me. So I was like comfortable, and I became very introverted. And it was I think one of the developing things made me get social anxiety disorder. But right as I am now at 24, I have this huge urge for adventure. Like I live in Alabama, but my dream is to visit every city in Alabama. Like most people want to go to Paris and go to these outlandish places, Australia or something like that, or Japan. Which Japan is one of my favorite destination places too. But my bucket list adventure goal is to see every city in Alabama, my hometown, the place that I love, and just see how beautiful it is, and beat all the negative stereotypes that we have. But for me to do this, like I need to be with someone who appreciate my dreams, my ambition, and that would have to be my friend I met online. I don't want to say her name or like where she's from and all that, but it's my friend I met online that we always talked about seeing the Northern Lights, and like we have a lot in common with our bands. Like we have the favorite band. Our favorite bands is Radiohead and all that, and I feel like I want to go on an adventure with someone I'm comfortable with who's like has a similar interest. And we always talked about going on all these cool things that she's interested to and all that, even though between me and you viewers, like I don't think we're never gonna have that adventure, but you never know. But if there was a road trip that I can bring her along, then we'll go together to visit all the cities in Alabama.
Online friend, got it.
Okay. He has it all planned.
If I had to go on a road trip with any person living or dead, I'm going to go with LeBron James.
I think he said LeBron James.
Yeah, greatest of all time road trip buddies.
Yeah, I'd probably go on a road trip with Kid Leroy. Pretty good rapper, singer. Love his music. We can vibe out. Maybe sing a song together. Without you.
Things like me. Carpool karaoke moment. I like it.
If I could go on a road trip with any person, living or dead, who would it be? Probably Muhammad Ali. And let me go ahead and tell you why. I remember being on YouTube the other day and seeing a video in which a couple met Ali in the Great Wall of China, and I started thinking, how would it be to travel around the world with Ali? I mean, this is just a road trip, but traveling with someone like Muhammad Ali, no one will pick a fight.
It's greatest.
True.
If I am to go on a road trip with anyone, that person is definitely going to be my dad. You know why? Because he will be running commentary and telling you stories about every landmark, every sport, every box stop, everything. The man knows quite a lot of places, and it's always fun traveling with him.
Appreciates a dad joke.
Running commentary.
If I'm going on a road trip with someone, I would most definitely go with a person who is worth it, a person who is fun and full of excitements in life, and a person who's ready to go or just go with the flow with everything. So I'm choosing my girlfriend to go with me to a road trip anywhere in the world.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow. I have changed my mind. I've got a new one now. But now it's time for us all to vote. There are 6 buttons at the bottom of the screen. Is it going to be from left to right? An online friend? Is it going to be LeBron James? Is it going to be with a little bit of a song, Muhammad Ali, he's the greatest? And maybe your dad, or maybe your girlfriend or significant other. That would be 5 and 6, Veronica. You love your dad. My dad reads plaques too. A lot of them.
Listen, I think it was sweet, but my dad and his running commentary, an entire road trip, I did just like PTSD. Oh God, no.
Yeah, you know what? Well, I feel like that's a very dad skill to just have something to say about every landmark, like doing the research, being like, this place has this happening, this is that happening. I feel like it's kind of nice.
Oh.
Wow.
Kid Leroy.
Oh boy.
So, Trish, I remember once meeting your grandfather, and he drove up to your place in a Winnebago, and my recollection is that he was on a road trip forever. That was kind of his thing. He just was on a road trip for the last part of his life. He's a guy who knew how to road trip. You have no recollection of this.
I don't. Did he have a German Shepherd and a carton of Marlboro? That was definitely him.
Definitely say yes to one of those things.
Yeah, I'm not really much of a road tripper though. I don't know. I like short trips, but
yeah, you'd be up to the road trip if you're going with Willie Nelson, say, and the bass. That's what I'm thinking. In the butt.
Yes, I'm 100% down. But
yeah, well, I think we had a lot of talk of family with this question, which is actually, dads, girlfriends, grandparents. I think it leads actually extremely nicely into the next question. Could not have played it better.
My family actually does so many road trips because my mom's side lives in Canada, so we're always driving there and back, and it's just become almost like a muscle memory type thing too. It's not really hey, we're on the road. It's okay, all right, I'm shutting down for 8 hours. No one talk to me, and then we'll get there. But that kind of leads us nicely into our next question, as JJ teed up. What makes your family different and wonderful?
Well, I can only speak for myself, but my brothers and I, I'm always talking about my family and my kids, everything, and I love them. But my brothers and I, who grew up together, are super tight, super duper tight. And even now, and I'm really old, we still talk all the time, and we share, our problems or anything that's going well, sort of our joys and achievements, especially with our kids. It's all the time, constant conversation, and we have fought together. We've dated the same people. We have done everything together, and they are my greatest support. I love them. You guys rock.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, my sister's still my best friend too, for sure.
Mean though.
She is mean. I have to be her friend.
Oof, damn.
Love her, but
strict.
Commands respect.
Yes. Of course. Yeah, I think I'm starting to become much better friends with my sister. I think now that we're both in this very similar places in our lives, so I can understand. I can empathize.
What's your age difference?
2 years, so not much.
Oh, so you're close too. Okay.
Exactly.
COVID definitely made me and my brother closer, I think. At a certain point, they just, I get your sister, JJ. It's my annoying little brother, and then all of a sudden you blink and it's like, oh wait, you're like a young man, and you're like kind of cool. That's cool.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's just a matter of figuring out that your siblings are actually pretty cool. Well, we have some answers coming in from fans about what makes their family so cool, so we can tune in and see if they have similar things to say to us.
What makes your family different and wonderful? I believe the answer is magic. They can disappear.
This question is really easy to answer because my family comes from two different backgrounds. My father is Muslim and he's Arab, Sudanese to be specific, and my mom is Hungarian and she was raised up in Christianity. And I turned out to be a believer in none, but I do believe that we all are one. that we all.
I love it. He's so excited by this.
I love my family because they're just unique. There's no one like them on earth because they're their own people and they have their own personalities and they have their own unique flaws. And what's the opposite of a flaw? Benefits? I don't know.
Choose strengths, maybe. I would go with that.
Yeah.
They have their own unique strengths and flaws.
And my family is very accepting of other identities and religions, which is not always the case because, there are some people that like to stay within themselves, stay within their community. My family is very accepting of others. And I think that's just what makes them different and wonderful because I don't get to see a lot of that from other Indian families. And my family is just very chill and very open to hearing other people's opinions. And they love learning about other people's beliefs and customs and religion. And I just think that makes my family different. And it's amazing.
That's great.
Love that.
Yeah, and you're not alone in that.
Well, eat together, fun together, and celebrate together makes my family wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, the family that eats together, has fun together, and celebrates together.
Honestly, the fact that we're all still together. My husband and I are still together. My parents are still together. And his parents are still together. I'd say that's pretty different and pretty wonderful.
Statistically improbable.
Right.
But delightful.
Exactly.
Well, guys, it's time again to vote. Whoever it is that you vote for is going to make it into the finals for the final countdown. We've got some really interesting questions. Vaf, her family is magical. And Smiley, his family has such incredible diversity, and he seems like he's gotten a ton out of that. Yeah, and Devin, they're all really unique persons with both their strengths and flaws, and she loves that, their uniqueness. Raman's family is super accepting. She thinks that's unique and really, really important. And Jawad's family is a family that celebrates together, and I really love that. Sarah's family, stunning in their not divorcedness, which is so true. It's like 60% now. American families end up in divorce, and so it's amazing. So congratulations to you and your family. So guys, let's click that button and send somebody to the grand finale this week on The Big Show.
Oh, we have a winner already. Let's see who it is.
Oh, yeah.
An interfaith household. That's cool.
Yeah. Now, it seems like it wasn't just going on around him. He just seems like he's he's answered other questions. It seems like he was very much shaped by that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really cool.
Yeah, no, I think it's also very cool to be able to forge your own path, sort of have that open mind. Obviously they have an open mind since about religion, so being able to have that with your children is just as cool.
Yeah, that's
nice bit of wisdom.
One of the other answers said the same thing about her. Didn't write her name down though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that seemed, honestly, a lot of their answers kind of dispelled this very key wisdom just about how to live your life. And I think our next question also gets into wisdom in a different form. Still wisdom though.
Mm-hmm. That was a very valiant effort to segue.
Nothing. Nothing to hang your transition on. Sorry about that.
No, well, it's a lot of learning about methods of family raising, and this is a method about roasting. I'm sorry, I totally just hijacked that. Yours. We should have just left with yours. Oh. All right. That's what I get for trying to be a star.
You did great.
But as you can kind of see by the video in the background, the next question is a life hack. What is the best method to making your perfect cup of coffee? It's a contentious one, too.
It really is.
Yeah,
everybody has a different idea about it. But I think I have a Keurig now. I didn't always, and I don't love the Keurig, but it is convenient. And when you live alone, it's nice because you just have a cup at a time. But I think like anything else, whether it's food or beverage, it comes down to freshness. So I think like the fresher the beans, the fresher the grind, the fresher the pot, right? Keith, you do like a French press?
I do, but you're so right. I wish I could take the time to grind them every day. But so my beans tend to be like a week or two old, but I keep them in the freezer. Try to keep them fresh.
Yes, that's a thing, right?
Yeah, use the ingredients and treat them simply. That's where I am.
Yeah, not too much cream, not too much sugar, not too much. I like mine black with just like a little bit of like a sweetener, just a tiny.
It's a metaphor, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah, would you say that you raise your children in the same way? It's like, you got to start with good ingredients and then you don't really have to do much.
Jesus, that was so weird metaphor.
I mean, a little bit of cream and sugar, maybe,
Oh, do we have any answers coming in?
We do. Yes, so we have some other recipes from our users. So let's go through and see if we can find any that stick with us.
Okay, I can answer this with my mom. She loved coffee, but she always told me if you're making a cup of coffee, always clean out your thing. Always clean it out. Don't have a filter in there. No. Get a clean filter. You can do it two ways. You can do it the Keurig way, you got like a regular thing and it does it itself. And then she would do, I think it was 10 creams and 5 sugars. Yeah, it was like a cup of coffee, 10 creams, 5 sugars. It was perfect every time. Perfect every time.
Who cares?
She would do a Keurig way, where she just use like a little cup, put it in there. She'll make it, or she would do it the traditional way, like a regular coffee thing. And then she would put like the coffee stuff. She let it get in the cup. Then she would use her creamer, and she would usually pour it in there until it tasted like hazelnut. Like she never really had like, okay, let me put this in there, put this in there. No, my mom literally would shoot. I don't know how she would eyeball it. She did eyeballing things with seasoning. She just knew. And then she would put like a few little things of sugar in. It was perfect every time.
Oh God!
Like Mozart.
It all depends on the roast. I mean, you could put a lot of creamer in, but you have to have a healthy medium because too much creamer might be a little too sweet. That's my personal opinion.
Yes, Zach.
Yes.
Life hack. You clean that Keurig, you use filtered water, use fresh coffee. Then my little trick is you dump a bunch of milk in it and then a bunch of creamer.
Everyone loves the milk and creamer.
Everyone.
I didn't realize.
I support them.
So I never was really a big fan of coffee until I started watching Emma Chamberlain, and she has her own coffee line. So I bought that, and it's so much better than anything I've tasted.
I've
heard good things. Been tempted.
Life hacks. What's the best method to making the perfect cup of coffee? This one is easy. A Keurig machine. I use mine every single morning, and I have a perfect cup of coffee.
I'm going to be sad for the consistency. Every cup tastes exactly the same.
Life hacks. What's the best method of making the perfect cup of coffee? Get a Keurig? Duh.
They're
twins.
them in there, buried down beneath the creamer and the sugar and the hazelnut sauce. There is actually quite a stuff in there that you should think about. Angel says you got to keep your stuff clean, and so did Tara. Those are both really important. Angel, like 16 cups of creamer. Zach's like, keep it simple. He's going the other way. Vivian is all about you just got to get the right coffee. And El Holman is about the Keurig, because every K-cup is going to come out exactly the same, because you know what? We're not smart enough to make a cup of coffee. So let's just let the Keurig guys do it. It's like going in. Exactly. Anyway, amazing ideas in here. Let's vote for our favorite coffee concept.
I do find it very interesting that it looks like Elle Holman and Lashane might be the same people, and the idea that she submitted 2 just to spread the word about how good a Keurig is quite entertaining and quite.
She works for them.
Is this sponsored?
Yeah.
Oh, we have a winner coming on next week.
Oh. 10 creamers and sugars, right?
Yeah, but she also started off with what I think was one of the wisest things here. She said, you got to clean your thing.
Yeah.
And it goes right there with having the right ingredients, which is what we were all talking about beforehand. It's everything has to be immaculate. And then the coffee can,
do its magic.
It can become what it was meant to be. Going back to my metaphor.
Perfect.
Right? It's got to be clean.
Do you think that Angel's favorite Ariana Grande album is Sweetener?
Oh.
I was thinking that one.
No. I'm sure there's a clever transition coming out of that. So
there isn't. I think we just.
Oh, come on, keep the ball rolling.
You're doing great.
Well, I mean, I think then a transition. I think it's the perfect time to talk about my background.
Oh, please do tell.
I don't know. I was inspired by a previous recap show because it kind of looks like I'm on a date.
Oh, great.
And that's what I'm going to give you, Reid.
All right. Well, as he so eloquently led us to, the next question is, what's your absolute worst first date story?
You know, if you've been on a date, then you got a first date. And you've had a first date, then you must have had a worst date. And earlier in the week, I was like, well, I just had this one bad date. But you know what? I have been able to add more to my thinking on this one. But I'll stick with that story, man. My worst first date was the one that I talked about earlier in this week, where I was so looking forward to it. She was somebody that I really liked. I thought we were going to have this wonderful time. I didn't know her that well, but you know, I took her to this like very nice restaurant. It was like hard to get seats. You know, I was all dressed up. I was wearing a tie, for goodness sakes. And then they bring out, you know, the wine and the appetizers, and she just puts her head down on the table and commences to cry. And she just, it wasn't like she got up and left. She just sat there and just cried, sobbing for, you know, a while. So I drank most of that bottle by myself. The waiter came by, was like, you know, look, I guess it happens all the time.
Oh my gosh. Did you just like try to keep the conversation moving, or did you ask? How'd you handle it?
At first I did, and then there was like this. Was it something I said? Fortunately,
sad.
That is one of those scenarios.
I have a pretty good self-image, so I didn't take it too personally.
No, and you know she's telling this story to this day as like one of her most embarrassing moments. Like, this really nice guy took me out.
I got my meds wrong or something. I don't know.
Exactly. No, she's on another talk show also called QOTD, also with a live show happening right now with this question, telling this exact story from her perspective.
Exactly.
Well, I think we have some answers coming in from viewers about their own embarrassing or weird first dates. So let's see what they have to say, and let's see how their stories match up.
My worst first date was one that I did not want to happen at all, but the guy showed up to my apartment and knocked on the side of my window after I had canceled. So I awkwardly said hi through the window and went outside and got coffee with him. Never texted him again.
Yeah, first date, last date.
Oh no.
That's
so I once had this date. I was really looking forward to it. We went to this fancy restaurant. It was like, this great gal. And we got there, and I guess something hadn't gone her way that day. And she cried. She just put her head down on the table and cried the entire time. And I call it the worst date, but it's...
Nice.
Yeah, the answer's so good, you just had to say
My
it.
worst first day story was when I went to the restaurant, but it was like the wrong restaurant, and so it was very embarrassing for a while, since I waited for a long time before I realized, oh yeah, this is not the place I was supposed to be at. So yeah.
I love it. That's a good story.
Classic.
The worst first date I have ever been on wasn't anything like profound or like ridiculously terrible, but it was just a like long drawn out dinner at the Cheesecake Factory, which usually takes a couple of hours, but there were so many awkward silences and pauses. I just couldn't find ways to fill the silence, and there was just like no connection.
That's awkward.
You know what? Why are you going first date? Find out.
My first worst date would have to be my first time going out with someone I met online. We went to the movies, actually. We talked for like 2 months before we actually went out.
I don't know about the movie first date.
I know.
Could come. Seriously. Let's just say I allowed it, but there was no second date after that.
That was
Run, girl.
Oh,
that would be an ender. Wow, there are some good choices here, folks. Let's click on one of these buttons. Send one of these people to the finals. Was it the canceled date that refused to be rejected? Is it that boring guy's story again? Or maybe Rihanna, she went to the wrong restaurant. Alexis, they just didn't get along. And Angel, I'm not sure exactly what happened, but they talked online. I guess it just didn't like transition to RL, to IRL. Isn't that what we say? And then Heather has a story about the date who wanted to bring his mom along. Because,
I'm horrified.
Can I?
She's like, and I allowed it, but not a second time. It's like, oh.
No.
Well, I mean, a second time, but not a third time. After this, she was awesome,
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think we have a winning answer coming in. Let's see whose story it is.
Oh, that's stalker.
Yeah. That's pretty bad.
He was just persistent. How do you know whether you're being like persistent or whether you're being a stalker?
He's tapping on her window.
Yeah, telltale sign of a stalker.
No, total stalker. She said no.
She's like,
and then he tried to break into your house.
Yikes.
That's how you know.
Huh?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like with a lot of these, it's like, I guess it's good that they're showing their worst sides now, so that way you save yourself the trouble.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta be upfront with the mommy issues for sure.
Yes.
Oh, no, none of those scenarios are ones that sound any remotely fun. I'd rather just go out and like, I feel like, I don't know. Who needs to be dating when you can just be like single and dancing in a club,
Dating's good. Dating's good. Dating lends a formality that says this relationship is possibly going someplace,
Or I need a restraining order.
Right.
One of those two.
You learn a lot about yourself. You learn a lot about other people. You learn how to file a restraining order.
Exactly. I don't know. I'm still convinced that I would rather be like partying like it's 1999 or $18.99 or $13.99.
Oh yeah, $14.99. Well, you brilliantly just led us into our next question. Actually, don't know how you do it, but you did it again. All right, if you could spend a weekend partying in any decade, which one would it be? I've gone back and forth. There's a lot of decades that are super fun, had a lot of great music, but I would love to go to Studio 54, so I'm gonna pick the 70s. I just want to know. I mean, everything you hear about it seems so crazy. I'd have to find out for myself.
I think that's a good.
And you get to wear big platform boots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Get to do all. I love disco music too.
Well, that was.
I don't know if that was popular in the 70s or if it was like it was unpopular to like it or gauche or whatever, but
you could do anything in the 70s. 70s had so much great music, and so, you know, it wasn't just disco. It was disco, and it was also punk, and it was also some of the best kind of, you know, folksy hippie tunes were actually from the 70s, you know. So there was great music to dance to if you were partying.
And who wasn't partying?
In the 70s.
Yeah.
It was a party there. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, no, the 70s, that just sounds like so much fun. Everything was freer, everything was more fun, everything was better in the 70s. No.
So that's all decided. We don't even need to go to the next part, right? It's the 70s.
It's the 70s. That's it. We are the winners.
That's what
Congratulations.
Yeah, all 6 answers, all the 70s. Well, we actually have some. Yeah.
Just in case, let's get a couple of other points of view on this.
Good point. Yes, I think we have some answers coming in. So let's get a
Give me
holistic
the
view.
opportunity to spend a weekend partying in another decade, I would choose the 90s. I was born and raised in the 90s, and I think it would be super cool to go back to that era and just see what life was like as an adult during that time.
What was the 90s?
If I could spend a weekend partying in another decade, it would certainly be the 90s. And where? Probably LA. Probably the LA music scene in the 90s. A lot of the alternative rock and rap that came out of that time is some of my favorite music.
Okay.
I'd be in the 1970s, Studio 54, New York City, dancing to some disco, having probably one of the best weekends of my
Just and it could be the
I
70s.
am not really a party girl. I mean, I had my moments in college, I guess, but if I had to go party for a weekend and I really wanted to, I think the best place to party would be Jersey Shore when they were filming that reality TV show. Those people did nothing but party. They couldn't do a lot. They were not capable of holding a job, but they could party.
Gotta perfect your fist bump.
Exactly. Got a perfect jump.
I would be going straight to the 60s, you know, Woodstock, and just the whole hippie scene. Seems like a whole lot of fun. So I would love to hang out with those folks.
Yeah.
Another good decade.
If I could spend the weekend partying in another decade, it would have to be in 1969 at the Woodstock Festival, which was in New York. There were so many different artists, and that festival became legendary. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Practically the 70s, so I think we have another vote there.
Oh, yeah, you can stretch that. The 60s has a lot of diversity in it. Like from the early 60s to late 60s, it's like 2 different planets. Guys, it's time to vote. You can vote for the 90s, the 90s, the 70s. When's Jersey Shore? 90s?
2010s.
10, the 60s, and the hard 60s. Yeah. Put one of those buttons and send one of these people to the finals. You know, I'm watching Chicago right now. And so there's all these great sequences from the 60s because they're inside the musical Hair. And you know what? They are having a great time.
I I saw the first few episodes of the Schmicago, and I thought it was like,
70s, baby. We win.
Luis, congratulations.
You know, there were so many new fabrics invented in the 70s. It was like, that's when like rayon really like had its heyday. It was those artificial fabrics that kind of made everything good, and like wool, cotton, forget about that stuff, man. It's all about the nylons. And they hadn't even thought, hey, we could do a blend. No, straight up. So you sweat a lot out there on the dance floor, which is why you have to have your shirt unbuttoned very far. You know.
That's a good point. I actually hadn't thought about the fashion aspect of it.
Oh, it's the best part. Headbands,
bell bottoms.
If only the next question was, what fashion trend would you bring back from the past? But it is not. You know, I think a lot of people said 70s, and honestly, it's something at this point that you just could like write in the sky, just let everyone know that you are like, this is the decade. This is the answer. We are right.
That's what they did in the 70s. They had people just write, it's the 70s across the sky, so that everybody knew.
Just in case they forgot.
Yeah, and they did. So there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Well, I believe that leads us to our next question. Only a couple hours old, but you are a skywriter, or you can hire a skywriter for one day. What's the message you're sending out into the world?
Yeah, so this is kind of a broad question about if you could give a message to the world. What is it, the one piece of like wisdom, advice, or wish, or hope, or whatever it is? What is it that you would like to say to the whole world?
Okay. I see. I've given this question some thought, and I think I have a pretty good one. So I had a plan. So I hire a skywriter, and I have them write in the sky, and I go up to everyone, and I'm like, guys, it says gullible in the sky. And everyone's like, there's no way. And I'm like, that's absolutely what happened. I hired a skywriter. They wrote gullible in the sky and everything. And I'm just like, you have to look up, you have to see it. It's so cool. I spent so much money on it. And then everyone's like, no. And I'm like, please do it for me. And so I'm like, they're like, fine. And they look up and it says, got you in the sky.
Nice.
That's the plan. That's it.
You're a prankster. I kind of had a similar vibe. I was gonna write "Will you marry me" in the sky and see how many couples get into fights because of it.
Oh my god.
People are saying like bits of wisdom, perhaps. I'm very pranksters like you two.
Exactly. We're the fun answers. I mean, we have some answers coming in, so let's see if other ones are as fun as ours. I think there's definitely some inspirational ones, so let's see what they have to say.
If I was a skywriter, I would definitely do like short 2 to 3 word like phrases that are upbeat, positive, motivating, because it's just like really cool to see something being written in the sky in general, but you know that there's going to be someone that it's going to apply to if you say like, be patient, or your time is coming.
Yeah. Patience.
I personally have a hard time reading books these days. I'm always putting these on at some point. So I've started to move to large print books, but I think skywriting would be pretty good. And I have my eyes on War and Peace. That could be pretty good in the sky. Everybody could enjoy it.
The longest book possible. Not Green Eggs and Ham, War and Peace.
Well, I think my message to the world would be very simple. 3 little words. Zip your fly.
Much like gotcha or gullible.
Your socks are down or something.
I would say, face the dream that you're made for. Yeah, it falls right in the play with who we are and whose we are. I think that would be the way.
Wise, very wise.
If I could hire a skywriter for one day, my message would be to be kind to others, but I would shorten it to be kind, so others can be kind to everybody else and spread positivity.
Right? So skywriters are expensive, right? You gotta like get it in the.
If I could hire a skywriter for the day, it would just send a positive message about love and peace and just happiness, just to get that message across to everybody that in these times, everything's going to be okay.
And Heather thinks love is all you need. And maybe Heather is correct. Well, we've heard those 6 questions, and now it's time to vote. Which of these did you find the most illuminating, entertaining? You know, what's the one that you feel like you agree with the most? Is it going to be, like Alexa says, patience, right? Writing something in the sky that says patience, it seems like very appropriate. Pear says, he says he's going to put War and Peace up there. Clearly, there's not room for War and Peace even across the heavens. So Zip Your Fly is a far more efficient response. That's number 3. Andre says, chase the dream you were made for. Right? We have number 5, be kind. And Heather says, love, peace, happiness. Yeah.
Good summary. Yeah. If you aren't already on BeOnTheAir.com, if you're on YouTube and Twitch and not on BeOnTheAir.com voting with those blue buttons, I don't know what you're doing at this point. You know, you got to get on the website. You gotta play the game.
Would that be your message in the sky? BeOnTheAir.com.
Yes. Go to BeOnTheAir.com.
Oh, address. Pear says War and Peace.
It's a War and Peace one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he submitted 2, and one of them was War and Peace, and this one was Zip Your Fly.
Zip Your Fly was the winner. All right.
I will be looking at some of these are classics from back in the day, and I think that we will not have so many duplicates come next week. So enjoy it while you can. Pear.
Yes.
Air of answers, you say.
Nice. Good pun. Well, I think we have all of our questions for this week and all of our semifinalists, and that can only mean one thing. It is time for the final round, the championship round. The best of the best.
Well, this is the round where we're going to do final voting. We're going to go through the answers that you have selected as being the best answer to each question for the week. And then we're going to pick one as being our champion of the champions, right? And that will be our winner because there must be a winner. Because as we learned from The Highlander, one of the best bad movies ever made, there can be only one.
Exactly. We have 7, and now it's time for them to duke it out in this battle royale. Well, I think first, before we choose a winner and open up the voting, do we want to do like a quick... I know it's been a long show. You know, we've been here for about an hour, I think, at this point. So I think we could all use a refresher on what the winners are.
Let's hit it.
Let's do it. Okay, starting with... Yes.
I'd be in the 1970s, Studio 54, New York City, dancing to some disco, having probably one of the best weekends of my life.
Yeah, Louise is answering the question. If you could go back and party.
Yeah, I'd probably go on a road trip with Kid Leroy. Pretty good rapper, singer. Love his music. We can vibe out. Maybe sing a song together. Without you.
Jay Ross is telling us who he'd like to go on a road trip with.
The newest Joker really speaks a lot to mental health and how those around you can really play a difference in how you handle that.
And Allie is telling us about the book that influenced her the most or movie.
Okay, I can answer this because my mom, she loved coffee, but she always told me if you're making a cup of coffee, always clean out your thing. Always clean it out. Don't have a filter in there. No. A clean filter. You can do it 2 ways. You can do it the Keurig way, you got like a regular thing and it does it itself. And then she would do, I think it was 10 creams and 5 sugars.
Perfect.
Yeah, it was like cup of coffee, 10 creams, 5 sugars. It was perfect every time. Perfect every time.
And Angel Question:
She
how
would
do you
do a Keurig way, where she just use like a little cup, put it in there. She'll make it, or she would do it the traditional way, like a regular coffee thing. And then she would put like the coffee stuff. She would let it get in the cup. Then she would use her creamer, and she would usually pour it in there until it tasted like hazelnut. Like she never really had like, okay, let me put this in there, put this in there. No, my mom literally, I don't know how she would eyeball it. She did eyeballing things with seasoning. She just knew. And then she would put like a few little things of sugar, and it was perfect every time.
Angel is answering the question: how do you make the perfect cup of coffee?
My worst first date was one that I did not want to happen at all, but the guy showed up to my apartment and knocked on the side of my window after I had canceled. So I awkwardly said hi through the window and went outside and got coffee with him. Never texted him again.
Angelique is telling us her worst first date story, also known as how to attract a stalker.
This question is really easy to answer because my family comes from two different backgrounds. My father is Muslim and he's Arab, Sudanese to be specific, and my mom is Hungarian and she was raised up in Christianity. And I turned out to be a believer in none, but I do believe that we all are one. that we all can.
Smiley's answering the question: what is it about your family that makes them so special and unique?
I personally have a hard time reading books these days. I'm always putting these on at some point. So I've started to move to large print books, but I think skywriting would be pretty good. And I have my eyes on War and Peace. That could be pretty good in the sky. Everybody could enjoy it.
Pear's answering the question: if you could put a message across the sky for the whole world to share and enjoy, what would you put? And his answer was, I'm going to write some classic literature all the way across the sky, because that's what's going to make it the best of times and also possibly the worst of times.
The mileage on that plane must be crazy, though.
Oh, yeah. It's got to go all the way through the summer of their discontent. Well, guys, it's time to vote, right? There's buttons across the bottom of your screen. One extra button now. And so click those buttons. Whoever is the one that you vote for is going to win. So vote for the one that you thought was illuminating, that inspired you, made you laugh, or that you just like said, yes, I totally agree with what that person said.
Not the 10 creamer one. Not the 10 creamer one.
The trick to coffee is to not put much coffee.
War and Peace, the winner.
The classic. It would have been easier to do green eggs and ham. That was a great show. Yikes. I'm exhausted. I had to think about so many different things because even though we did have a theme running through it, which was school, right? They were very different. I guess that there were many periods during school, and you had to go from homeroom all the way through to gym and then out the door. But so my brain is now, you know.
You want to talk about next week, this week?
But so, yeah, that's the end of this week. And now next week starts today. So let us imagine what is it that this week's questions are going to be. Does anybody know what the questions are? Maybe you can give us a little bit of a teaser.
Pick me. This week, we are in honor of Coachella. We're talking about memorable concerts and music festivals. In honor of some great movie releases coming out, we're talking about crossovers and cameos. And then we've got a couple of would you rather type questions that are good.
I am pumped up.
Mm-hmm.
I am. Yeah. Boy. Talk about the Wayback Machine. I got some good concerts I'm going to tell. Even more amusing than those good dates.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm excited. I'm very pumped for next week.
Well, everybody, go to BeOnTheAir.com. We'll put the new questions up in a few hours. But until then, you'll see this week's questions. But then you can always go to BeOnTheAir.com, and it says it right up on the top. Today's question. And you answer that question by clicking the orange record button. You have the opportunity to record. And then if people vote for you, you can make it to the big show and become a star of stage and screen like pairing all of his buddies today. So, anybody last words before we check out?
I mean, I feel like with going with the line of school, we had the 7 periods, and then the winners round is like the last day of the last class of the day. So the school bell has rung. Everyone enjoy your after school activities.
Find your bus.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, find your bus, get on, go home, relax. We are QOTD and BeOnTheAir.com signing off. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on TV. Bye, everyone.
Bye.